The likely cause and preliminary death for Marilane Carter is in. The Kansas wife and mother, of course, who disappeared over 2 weeks ago and whose body was found inside her vehicle, which was inside of a storage container. Her death is believed to have been caused by carbon monoxide poisoning. 2 weeks of searches by land, air and water ended on Tuesday when Marilane's uncle discovered her vehicle and ultimately her body in Crittenden County, West Memphis, Arkansas, very close to the way station just off the I-55. It was just before 11 a.m. on Tuesday that her uncle, who was combing the area, an area that had been previously looked over but not considered, discovered the partially open container. It was on private property, which is said to not normally be accessible, but apparently a locked gate that's normally there was obviously unlocked in this instance. Now, because of the cause of death that they've given, I can only assume that Marilane must have reversed her vehicle into the storage container, which of course would have caused the release of the toxic exhaust gases, carbon monoxide, to build up behind her and ultimately around her vehicle and then inside, of course. If it had been the other way round, then exhaust gases probably would have just obviously escaped out of the container, and it would have been extremely difficult for her to exit the vehicle once she'd driven in there and close the container doors from the inside. And remember, the uncle did report that the doors were partially open. Her body was found sat in the driver's seat. Her purse and credit cards are inside, but not her phone. Well, they certainly haven't mentioned her phone. I guess she could have switched it off and tossed it away somewhere. Personally, I wouldn't mind betting that they would find her phone, if they haven't done already, nearby in those surrounding fields, because we know that she was speaking with her husband and her mother up and around the time that her phone kind of went off air. Crittenden County Sheriff Mike Allen has said that they are expecting the confirmed cause and manner of death to be finalised by the medical examiner later today. But they have said, as which they said initially, all indications are that no foul play was involved. Sheriff Allen went on to say, and I quote, "We had the FBI Forensics Recover Team, Arkansas State Police and Sheriff's investigators, and their collective thoughts were that it was more than likely carbon monoxide. She didn't have any blunt force trauma or any type of wounds that would cause her death. She more than likely pulled into this container, left her motor running and asphyxiated. The vehicle was in park in the on position and it had run out of gas inside the storage container. How she got back into that location and found that container is just bizarre for sure. But all indications are she was behind the wheel, the car was running, the doors were actually locked, the vehicle doors. The way that car was in there, you for sure couldn't open and shut the doors. No one else could have done that. So he doesn't actually say there whether she went in forwards or reversed, and he goes on to say, "We're just waiting on the results and praying for the family. They sure have been through it." Chief Todd Grooms of the Crittenden County Sheriff's Department stated that information gathered from family members concerning her mental and emotional state during her final communications, along with facts gathered from the scene, have led investigators to believe that Marilane drove the vehicle into the container and in doing so caused her demise. A Facebook post appeared yesterday from the Leewood Baptist Church. That's of course where Marilane's husband serves as head pastor. And that reads, "It is with very heavy hearts that we share that Marilane Carter has passed away. Her vehicle and body were found Tuesday in the West Memphis area. Law enforcement says that foul play is not suspected. Please keep Pastor Adam and the children in your prayers. Many of you have already been asking if there is anything else you can do to help the family at this time. The best thing that we can do right now is pray for them. They don't have any immediate physical needs. If that changes, we'll be sure to let the LBC Faith family know." The website findmarilane.com, which was originally set up to offer a place for people wishing to help to apply, I think it was initially with their water sonar searches, it's now become a tribute site for Marilane, and her family yesterday released a statement. "These have been the longest weeks of our lives as we tried to cling to hope that Marilane was still alive. Thank you to all who have offered words of encouragement, prayers, tips, help and support during this very difficult time. We experienced firsthand the extreme love of friends and strangers. From a young woman who posted Marilane's picture at truck stops all the way in Florida, to those who participated in prayer vigils, to those who volunteered to help us do a sonar search. The support has been amazing. Marilane was dearly loved by family and friends. The all-out effort to find her is a testimony to that. We'd like to share more about Marilane, the person that you prayed for and helped us find." There's then some quotes and messages from Marilane's mum and also from her father. There's also some on there from siblings. I'd recommend you to visit the page. It's findmarilane.com. But I'll just read out the words from her mother and from her father. So for Marilane's mum, it says, "Words can't express the beauty in Marilane's heart. As a child, she was spunky and loved adventure. I was grateful that she didn't enunciate her words well when she was little, because you never knew what might fly out of her mouth. One time when she left Sunday school class, she hollered, 'Goodbye, gunks,' by which she meant goodbye, skunks. Thankfully, nobody understood. They all just waved and nodded. She also had a deep love of others that showed itself in special ways. As a little girl, she was worried that her grandfather might not be a Christian, because he left the room whenever the topic of God came up. She devised a plan. She waited until he was comfortable in his chair, and then she sat on his lap, so he couldn't leave, and told him all about Jesus. Marilane was drawn to helping others who were experiencing life crises, so she got her Masters of Divinity and became a hospital chaplain. I remember how fulfilled she was as she ministered to those in need. She told me of cradling a newborn baby that was stillborn. She held the infant in her arms and marvelled at its perfection. Marilane knew that the mother needed someone to acknowledge the baby's beauty so that she wouldn't fear giving birth to another child. Marilane, you are a hero, both in our family and far beyond. There's a hole in my heart that nothing can fill. I sorely miss your daily calls, your gentle spirit and your sweet laughter. Heaven has become closer to me now because it holds you. Never before has it been so real. Please know how deeply you are loved. I wish I could hold you tightly right now. I treasure the thought of our reunion one day when I can hug my girl with all my heart again. Love you for always, your mama. And then from Marilane's dad. Marilane, we shared November birthdays, and you were always my Kansas sunflower. You won an art contest with a painting of a covered wagon crossing the Kansas prairie, and your artwork was used on the cover of Kansas 2 magazine. You had a good memory and learned all the county abbreviations on the Kansas license tags, as well as memorizing over 700 Bible verses at Awana Club to win the Timothy Award. You were an avid reader, even reading books while walking down the grocery store aisles on our shopping trips, and you were the only one of your siblings to study Latin. I remember taking you to the Jackson County Spelling Bee in 8th grade. You did really well, making it through several rounds. I was proud of you. The best part was getting lunch on the way home. You had me stop at Taco Bell for the first time and advised me to order a 7-layer burrito with a Sprite. Very good. We also shared an interest in history, especially the Civil War. You watched the movie Gettysburg with me several times, all 4 hours and 20 minutes of it, and then painted a watercolour picture of the battle for me. You loved going to Royals baseball games and getting player autographs, and on cold winter mornings you always liked the sound of my shovel scraping snow off the driveway. You noticed the little things, and it will be the little things that will remind me of you. I will always love you, Dad. P.S. Thank you for the CD you made for me of my favourite church hymns. I will feel your presence beside me whenever I listen to it. It's hard to believe, isn't it, that just a few hours before Marilane ended up where they ultimately found her, she was at this gas station just casually buying gas and filling up her water bottle. She had a packed suitcase, didn't appear to be in any mental distress. As we know, of course, she told her family she was off to see her sister and her family and seek mental health in Birmingham, Alabama. But just what was going through her mind, I guess we'll now never know. She had planned to fly that day, but for some reason she decided to drive. It's a route that she knew well as well, apparently. Just such a tragic end to such a young life.